Okay, a lot to cover today. The Saving American History Act has been reintroduced in the Congress to prohibit the use of federal funds to teach the racially divisive 1619 project in K through 12 public schools. Now, in the Senate, the legislation was reintroduced by Senators Marsha Blackburn, Tom Cotton, John Bozeman, Cynthia Loomis, Tom Tillis, Tommy Tuberville, and the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell. Now, as I mentioned yesterday on the Senate floor, Leader McConnell had this to say about the legislation, which counters the Biden administration's push to prioritize history and civics education that embrace the divisive teachings of critical race theory and the 1619 Project. Listen to this.
The Department of Education's latest proposed priorities run roughshod over existing history and civics programs established with bipartisan support in order to push critical race theory on public school students and keep pace with woke sensibilities. American students deserve a rock-solid civics education grounded in actual facts, not divisive propaganda that tells them they're little more than a product of their racial background.
With me now to talk more about this legislation and other pressing issues on Capitol Hill is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, welcome back to the program.
It is good to be with you, and thank you so much for bringing attention to this issue, because I will tell you that we are hearing from so many parents about this, and they're very concerned, especially moms, that their children are in an educational system that is focused on indoctrination and not on education.
You're absolutely right. This issue, I have to go back in modern time in the last decade to the initial passage of Obamacare to see the type of response. You know, that created the Tea Party. I think there's another movement. This could become, moms on fire who are going to storm some of these school boards and take them over as a result of this indoctrination that's taking place.
One of the things that happened through the pandemic, Tony, is that people started listening in to their children's classes and looking at the work that they were being assigned or the lesson plans that were being sent to parents for parents to be handling with their children. And I have talked to so many parents who said, I looked at that and I thought, this isn't right. And they realized that critical race theory and judging people by the color of their skin, not by their character, and choosing to not work with people because of race, that this was something they didn't want their children to learn. They wanted their children to see everyone as equal. They want opportunity to be equal. They want access to education to be equal. And so they started saying, hey, wait a minute. I am going to get my arms around this issue. And yes, indeed, I have talked to so many conservative women who are going to run for school board, who are going to run for their county commission, because their children and their children's education and making certain their children live in a safe, secure community and enjoy freedom, that is vitally important. It is fundamental.
Has been happening. And this is why we go back to former President Donald Trump saying, hey, we're going to put an end to this. He created the 1776 Commission to take a real look at American history. But that said, this administration under Joe Biden has accelerated this stuff. I mean, just today, the Department of Education coming out saying they're going to interpret the Bostock decision. That was the gender issue, where they're now going to force schools to open up the bathrooms and all of these other things that locker rooms, sports. I mean, they are radicalizing public education in this country.
And it is of such concern to parents. You look at the Equality Act, where young women would actually lose opportunity under the Equality Act because they would be competing against biological males in sports. And when it comes to college scholarships, if someone deems themselves female, but they're male, then those girls would be competing against those biological males for college scholarships. You're going to see this in area after area when someone says, I self-identify, and then they will choose. We're even seeing it in our shelters, our domestic abuse shelters. Right. We are seeing this in prisons. This is creating quite a problem for many of our local governments and our charities.
Now, we have the states taking, Republican states, I should say, that are taking strong stands, pushing back against the federal government. But the threat is so great on the educational front. As we're just talking about what's happening in women's sports, what's happening in bathrooms and locker rooms, what's happening in the classroom. I mean, they're coming at education at every angle. What do Americans that care about this country and, more importantly, about their children need to be doing?
One of the things that they need to be doing is contacting all of their local elected representatives. These school boards are vitally important. And when you look at the control that your local school board, your state school board has, it means all of your local and state elected officials be in close contact with them. When it comes to the federal government and basically the mandate that the Biden administration is seeking to place, you need to be calling the White House. You need to be contacting your members of the House and the Senate to make certain that we stop this, because 2022 is coming quickly. And the Democrats know they're going to run out of runway before they get to that election date. So it means that we have to be diligent and fight back on this every single day.
Bottom line is, we cannot be silent. We cannot disengage. We may not have the levers of power in Washington, D.C., as the Democrats control literally both chambers and the White House, but we still have to fight with everything that we have. And you're doing that. And I want to thank you. You're leading out on so many fronts, and we just got about a minute left. But yesterday, Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on legislation to provide a citizenship path for millions of undocumented immigrants. Tell us how that hearing went.
Well, that hearing was really interesting, because what you've got is the left that is trying to make it easy for illegal entrants to become citizens. And what that would do is put those illegal entrants in front of people that have been working to earn their citizenship. So all of the churches that have been sponsoring families, working with families, helping them go through that citizenship process, the Democrats would like to provide amnesty to 3.5 million individuals. So think about that. Here's some other things. And Tony, I actually want to run through these really very quickly. These are some things that their bill would do. It would allow illegal immigrants with criminal records to be eligible for legal permanent resident status here in this country, because it would give a blanket waiver authority to cover them. It would allow these illegal immigrants with final removal orders. In other words, they've committed a crime, they're awaiting removal. It would allow them a pathway to legality. It would include an exception that allows some illegal immigrants to obtain permanent legal status and citizenship, even if they don't meet the requirements of the bill. They're saying, well, if you contact us and you apply, we'll find a way to make it happen for you. The Dream
Senator,
Act
we're going to have to, we're out of time. We got to leave it there. We'll talk more, I'm sure, about this issue. Thanks so much for